I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Lincoln County Courthouse for a joint meeting between the Sioux Falls City Council and the Lincoln County Commission. Thank you, Commissioner. This evening, I have a couple of announcements that I'm going to read that Toby gave me. This meeting is being streamed live and well joined and posted. It will be available at any time at lincolncounty.org. That's our website. The order of events tonight will be as follows. For each public hearing, staff will introduce the agenda item and present a summary of the staff report. The applicant will then be asked to explain their proposal in further detail and to answer any questions from the Board of Commissioners or the City Council. I will then open the floor to public comment for persons in support of the application and then persons who are in opposition to the application. When you step up to the podium, please give your name and your address and speak into the microphone. Please limit your comments to less than 3 minutes. Thank you for your cooperation. At this time, we need to take care of business and we need to approve the agenda. So, from the Lincoln County Commission, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve.
Motion by Aaron, second by?
I'll second.
By Landine. Kristen, do you want to call the roll, please?
Commissioner Aaron?
Yes.
Commissioner Landine?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Yes, motion carries.
Council, can we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So move, Jensen.
Second, McCourse.
Moved by Jensen, seconded by McCoris. And can we get a roll call vote, please?
Starr,
Yes.
Lorenzo,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
McCurris,
Yes.
Nigel,
Yes.
Sailberg,
Yes.
Salem,
Yes.
Passes 8-0.
Thank you. The first item is on regular business. And before that, the chair is going to exercise something that's not on the agenda, but then we like surprises. And Drew, don't shake your head like I'm going off the rails. But I do want to recognize Councilman Selberg, Councilman Neisser, Councilman Starr, and Councilman Jensen for your years of service, public service to the citizens of Sioux Falls, and thank you for your efforts and your dedication to that. I'd like to give them a round of applause. Thank you. Toby? We're first out of the box, right?
First order of business is that the second reading and ordinance of Lincoln County, South Dakota, amending the revised joint zoning ordinance for Lincoln County and the city of Sioux Falls by rezoning a portion, 7 acres, of the property legal described as southeast 1/4, including lot 7, and southeast 1/4, southeast 1/4, section 20 T100N R49W, Springdale Township, from the A1 Agricultural District to the C Commercial District. Applicant is 605 Storage Condos LLC. Property owner is Coaches Acres LLC. Location, the parcel ID is 100.49.20.4000.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Toby Brown, representing County Planning. As was noted, this application before you this evening is an application from 605 Storage Condos LLC for a change of zone on a parcel of 7 acres in size to be platted out of a parcel of 136 acres in size. Subject property is approximately 1.5 miles to the south of the city of Sioux Falls corporate limits. Subject property, though, is a 1/2 mile north of the intersection of County Highway 106 and State Highway 11. Comprehensive plan would be Shape Sioux Falls 2040, identifies this property, as you can see on the screen, as a future residential density. This is not adjacent to or near a nodal type development, which is typically where commercial activity is guided to in the comprehensive plan. Subject property, as noted, is zoned A1 agricultural. Predominant zoning around the property would be A1 agricultural. There is a property that was rezoned in 2020 just to the south and adjacent to this that is zoned commercial and will be of like use. Subject property is, again, will be 7 acres that will be parceled out of a 136-acre parcel. So at this point, it's undeveloped and is primarily utilized for agricultural purposes. Nearest dwelling would be about 300 feet to the north, and that would be the Al Dashel property. Some pictures that staff took of the proposed property. The one looking to the west would be looking directly onto the property where it will be built. So as you can see, the property to the south is developed condo storage as well. So staff did receive an application as noted. Staff has had conversations with the applicant on the proposal and the proposal of the development of the site. Proposal is to construct approximately 126,000 square feet of storage space or warehousing space. This, as you know, would be the first step in the action, would be the change of the zone of the property. This type of use and this type of size of the buildings will require an additional conditional use permit that will be considered by the Planning Commission if approved. So at this time, what the applicant is proposing is to change the zone for a conceptual plan of 126,000 square feet of storage units. This is a little unique, though. The one to the south was the first one that we really had in the county that was storage condos. So as developed, then each of the units were subdivided and sold off. And so there is owners that do rent the individual units to the south, but they're primarily owned. And if I recall, I think there's 71 units to the south, and there will be 71 units in this new facility. So it's, in a true subdivision, it's about 142 different property owners that would be associated with this property. So as noted, staff did review the application, did have some discussions with the applicant. And so we do, this is a joint recommendation by the City of Sioux Falls and Lincoln County Planning staff. So we do meet and we go over the staff analysis. Primarily guide for this is the 2040 Shape Sioux Falls Comprehensive Plan. As noted in the staff analysis, again, that from a zoning perspective, staff or the comprehensive plan identifies this area as not a nodal type commercial area, as well as this is a tier 3 growth area. So anticipated that infrastructure, water, sewer, police, fire will not be available until annexation, so approximately 16 to 25 years based on city budgeting. So the Planning Commission did conduct a public hearing. I did take public comment at this, and both planning commissions did an affirmative motion on it. The affirmative motion failed on both, by both bodies. And so with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have for staff at this time. There is staff from Sioux Falls Engineering and Sioux Falls Planning here as well, if there's any additional questions that you have. Otherwise, the applicant is here this evening to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions for our plan and zoning director?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
thank you. I don't know if, Toby, you want to continue or if I need Fletcher to answer this, but let me throw it out and then you can defer to him so that he can get nervous
Okay.
in the back of the room. One of, I guess, my concerns is the amount of space that would be in this location. So does the comprehensive plan address maybe this many units close to each other?
I would say no, but I'll defer to Fletcher on that. What I would say is eventually that there is no, I'll say from the comprehensive plan standpoint, from the city and the county's comprehensive plan, we don't guide that type of density in there. But there is some infrastructure things that will have to be addressed down the road.
Like?
Water, sewer,
Okay.
drainage.
But they're
Yeah.
probably not big users of at least this use. They're probably not big water users. They're not, big electrical, the utilities, the side of it, is it because of the type of use?
So each unit in the existing complex to the south has a pasture tap, so a water spigot. It was, from the city, that's what you call a water spigot. But, and then there is one bathroom on site, and that does have a holding tank. And then there is, I believe, 3 holding tanks that do separation from each drain that's in the units, individual units. But yeah, they're essentially, they do have, they're plumbed, so sub-sewer. So,
Sounds good. Thank you.
yep, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Brown?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So obviously, Highway 11 long range in city limits would be an arterial, presumably. What about the right-of-way that's just to the north there? Do you know, like, do we know what classific, like it'd be a collector, or is that outside of your, or engineering would potentially know what it's gonna be?
So I'll address, and I think what you're addressing is, so we did have some discussions, the applicant and the South Dakota DOT, they're the ones that do the driveway access permit there. They're not going to permit direct access to this property. So the applicant and city engineering is working on essentially developing a road, dedicated road on the half-mile line, which would be this area right here. And so the Al Dashel property to the north, when that was platted a few years ago, they did dedicate 40-foot of right-of-way on that north side property line. So I would assume that the city staff's going to require that there be additional 40 feet platted on that south side, but that'll be where the access will be for our property.
So it'd be like an 80-foot right-of-way, probably?
Collector,
if
more
they did
likely
half 40,
collector,
half 40.
yeah.
So,
Collector,
like
yeah.
collector and arterial, it will be kind of the intersection right there, most likely?
Correct.
Okay, but but the city is projecting that their commercial node would be up north, like half a mile at another intersection?
85th, correct.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'm just trying to envision what, and I guess maybe the other question is what, and maybe it's comes to the conditional use process and whatever stipulations planning commission adds. What buffering is required under this in terms of fencing and other things in the county? Because at some points, things will grow around it, but, or is it up to the planning commission?
So we do typically recommend through the planning commission, but in the joint zoning ordinance, there's no landscaping requirements or fencing requirements.
Okay.
But we
Yeah.
typically do recommend that as a staff recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Further questions? Seeing none, would
Thank
the
you.
applicant come forward, please? And state your name, address.
All right, Eric Van Dong, 307 West LaQuinta Circle, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you for taking the time to review this. I did put together a PowerPoint, so I'll just get that started. And hopefully it'll answer all your questions as well, so. Okay, and some of this Toby did kind of cover, so we can maybe skim over some of it. But here's kind of a 3D rendering of what we're looking to accomplish on that site. 71 units, like Toby mentioned. Fence around that, trees to make it look nice. But again, like Toby said, this is not a rental facility. These are individually owned condos, so a little bit different than what we're used to seeing anyway. So a bit of our history. You can kind of see the rec storage site there in the foreground and 605 in the background. In 2020, with the help of this joint board, we successfully rezoned and started construction on rec storage condos. We went through the same process that we're going through currently. That rezone was ag to commercial, like Toby had mentioned, and that was denied by the staff and Joint Planning Commission at that time. And the reason was the same as this one. It went against the 2040 comprehensive plan. So a couple months after that, that rezone denial was approved by this board on a vote of 12-1. Just a quick look at what we did. The bottom left picture is what we presented at that time. And the bottom right picture is how the project turned out. So 71 units, we basically put this in just to kind of show you, hey, what we present to you guys is what we're gonna do, so. So it's a high-end project, and that led to a very clean property, and that's, mainly people are putting, $160,000, $180,000 into these, so they have some pride in that, so. 605 storage condos will have the same style as rec storage condos. The new buildings will have a really nice appearance from the highway and be a great asset for Lincoln County and the Sioux Falls area. Rec storage condos is a very clean and high-end property, and we want to continue with the highest quality and same set of HOA covenants and bylaws to help protect the appearance and also protect each owner's investment. So the rec storage site is secure with a nice fence as well as security cameras to help if issues come up. We did actually just have a rec HOA meeting on April 7th, and we actually received a couple of compliments from some of the owners kind of thanking us for having those, stipulations in place so that, it didn't turn into having unwanted trailers and junk just parked everywhere, so. Toby kind of touched on this a little bit, but if you see the yellow arrow there, that's the new access point, and that's right on the quarter section line. So that will be shared between 605 storage condos to the south and then Al Daschle to the north. This access location came as a recommendation from Joe Sistek with the South Dakota DOT. And we've been working hand in hand with him as well as Harry and Brian from South Dakota DOT. And then if you look at the red arrow and kind of the red dashed lines, you'll see that future street extension. So as the city grows, we are allowing appropriate right-of-way and setbacks for this future street, which, like Toby said again, requires a 40-foot right-of-way on each side of the property. So we've been working with Shannon Austin at Sioux Falls Planning. She had a few questions and things, but we kind of got that all resolved and handled. So, yeah, talking with Joe Sistek, he said it makes sense to allow for it because we'll eventually need it, but didn't see the need to actually put in the road at this time. As long as we had that right-of-way designated on both properties, that would be sufficient. This is just real quick, the plot from Al Daschle's property. So the big red circle on the bottom right just shows you he has his 40-foot roadway easement already in. And then this is just the application for the new access point, which the DOT has, just kind of showing you, you know, hey, we've been doing everything we have to do for this, so. So why rezone and why here? So our new development will be sharing a southern property line with the commercially zoned rec storage, and then to our north will be the property of Al Daschle. Additionally, there is a large car dealership to our north up Highway 11, as well as a large storage facility across the highway from that dealership. There's also a large 3-story indoor storage facility north of that, and then U-Haul is also underway with a very large facility on Highway 11. And then as you probably heard recently, or you guys are obviously well aware of, Sioux Falls purchasing the 40-plus acres right across from our property here for that pump station. So we kind of feel that precedent has been set here for this rezone to pass at this location. So storage condos are cost prohibitive in Sioux Falls. Basically, the price of land, the price to build in Sioux Falls is quite expensive and can be 2 to 3 times as expensive as purchasing one of our condos. So it makes sense to have something like this here that's affordable for people. It's a great location for many residents in T, Harrisburg, Sioux Falls, as well as Brandon and Canton. Easy access with 271st Street running east and west, and then Highway 11 running north and south, and then the future access from Highway 100 just to our north will be another option. So there's a growing demand for storage as Sioux Falls and the surrounding area kind of sees, you know, that population grow, and it is kind of a unique area to have these condos. It's not for everybody, but there's a definite need, and I'll kind of get to that a little bit later too. So let's see. Just a list of people who are future owners. We haven't advertised this for probably a year since we did our last project, and we have 38 names on the list of people who said, hey, if you get this done, call us, we want in on it, we want one. So it's a good feeling to go into developing something like this, a multi-million-dollar project, and have that kind of set. So these storage condos act as a great buffer zone, basically between Highway 11 and then any residential development to our west. So the 2040 comprehensive plan says this area will be future residential, but it isn't ideal to have residential up against a busy state highway. And then this is something I just had found out, so I don't know a ton about it, but Lincoln County did a study for their future growth and will likely be putting a business node at the corner of 271st and Highway 11, which is just to our south. The impact this project will have on the local economy is significant, from construction to after completion. A lot of positives here for Lincoln County and Sioux Falls. So let's take a look at the property taxes. Right now, the current rec storage site is paying $160,000 annually in property taxes. And kind of like we've explained, it's going to be the new project is the same size and scope, so should be very, very similar to that. So that's big for Lincoln County. I did talk with Tyler Tordson, who is the president and CEO of Sioux Metro Growth Alliance, and they focus on helping to grow tax bases through economic activity, building projects, and other means to improve the quality of life in the entire Sioux Falls MSA. And he had sent over a quote and said that I could use it, so I am. He said this project has a couple-year track record of success now with no issues, and he's referring to rec storage. And that it's a creative way to fill a unique need in our region and is contributing to our regional economy through the taxes it's generating. A list of supporters. There are a couple gentlemen here that will probably be speaking on behalf of their support, but we do have a bunch of support behind us. Some of them couldn't be here, but. So I'm about done here. I took a couple quotes from the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. Page 188 of Shape Sioux Falls states, the Shape Sioux Falls Comprehensive Plan should be viewed as a framework within which a range of specific growth management policies and recommendations are discussed. It must be both dynamic and flexible to accommodate the changing needs of a growing community, yet steady enough to allow for reasonable long-term investment strategies by both the public and private sectors. A key function of the plan is to provide some predictability about the potential land uses and timing of development so that both sectors can make informed decisions in the areas of real estate and capital investments. And then flip a few pages ahead to 194. And it states, the future land use map is expected to have periodic amendments come before the Planning Commission and City Council. This process will ensure that the future land use map is kept current and changed to reflect the changing market demands. So that's where we're at, obviously, coming before you guys. So this project has such a positive impact for Sioux Falls and Lincoln County. This helps fulfill the storage needs of residents in our communities. It also helps people moving into our communities, giving them options when they do purchase a home, that they have an option for something like this. So the economic impact is significant as well, from construction through property taxes kind of ongoing after it's done. So 605 storage condos would be a big benefit to the area. So thank you guys for your consideration on this rezone.
Are there questions for the proponent? Any from the council, any from the commission?
Actually, Mr. Chair, may I?
Yes, yes, go ahead, Mr. Nitzer.
So can you clarify for me, will these, and you showed, I think, an actual picture of the existing condos, I think, in an early slide.
Yeah.
Would you propose that the new ones are going to be looking similar? Will there be pitched roofs, siding, and will it have kind of a residential building sort of a feel?
Yeah, on this picture here, you can kind of see how that does look with a pitched roof there. I'll see if I can back up to this one, probably gives you a better view of it. Yeah, so it has gutters on it. It's trimmed nicely. We used a nice color combination. I think we've got a lot of compliments on that, but yeah, and then a little shot of the inside of it too.
What's the, just out of curiosity, what is that siding? Is it like metal?
Yeah,
siding
it would be steel siding, vertical.
Steel siding?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in some kind of color like this, or?
Yeah, so it's true black, and then it's Quaker gray, I think.
Fair enough.
If you're-
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
Further questions? Thank you.
All right.
Are there further proponents for this particular project? People speak in favor?
Lynn Poppinga. My wife and I are Coach's Acres. We live at 47720 271st Street. The Coach's Acres is our son's coach football in Sioux Falls, so that's why the Coach's Acres came out. So anyway, we are in favor of this. It's a nice looking, it'll fit nicely in that spot right there. You don't want to see in Sioux Falls, there's all kinds of apartment buildings. This will fit nicely in that spot, so. That's all I got. We're being happy, like to have you guys approve this tonight to have this go forward, so.
Thank you.
I am Al Dashel. I live at 27045 South Dakota Highway 11, so I'm just to the north of the existing storage condos. And from observing it over the last several years, a couple of things. They're nice, clean units. I'm in favor of it because I'd like to see them extend over rather than having something else stuck in between there, rather than a gas station down the road, whatever it might be. But I noticed one thing, I watch the traffic in and out of there, and it's very little traffic in and out of there, and I really appreciate that. So I'm all for it. And also, I need a little extra storage myself. So I'd like to actually take advantage of it, so I'm in favor of it, so.
Thank you. Further people that wish to speak in favor? Hearing none, are there individuals who want to speak in opposition to this proposal? Seeing none, so I'll close to the floor for public comment at this time and talk to our commissioners. And if there's any action, or do you want to gauge your people first? You're our
Mr. Chairman,
guest, so-
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Oh, you can't wait here. We're on the trigger. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Aaron, second by Commissioner Landine to approve. Kristen, will you call the roll?
Discussion, please.
Oh, discussion.
Discussion there, Mr.
You got to
Chairman.
discuss? Chair does not recognize.
Mr. Chair. Second. It looks like a very nice run outfit, operation. From the county standpoint, though, zoning is a sensitive issue for myself and hopefully everyone else that sits here and we talk about, not doing spot zoning and those types of things, trying to get a plan for the whole area, not just a specific use, type of, activity. I actually have questions for our counterparts from the council, or from the city, as to what they think as far as how this fits into their plan for the future. Obviously, you've got a lift station that's gonna be going somewhere, or a treatment facility going in. It's gonna be a hub of an area for you, a main thoroughfare, coming in and out of your city. Does this truly fit within what you foresee for the future of this type of a location? So I would like to have heard that before I voted, so.
Any response from the city?
Mr. Chair, I can just give a quick synopsis of why I voted for this the last time. But if you look at what's already there and kind of what was described by not only the applicant, but also the staff, there is a historical perspective of lots going in just like this, or storage units going in just like this. And it is, like Mr. Van Dong said, a great transitionary piece to move westward to where residential would likely be better suited, not on Highway 11, which doesn't, necessarily. So from my perspective, that's why, and I speak for one of 8, that's why I voted for it in 2020 when we came down here. And we had I think we had the same conversation then. And then to the east, I think that's where you're talking about the lift station going, maybe to the east of it and maybe a little bit more to the north. So again, I'm comfortable with it because it fits what we've already done. And I wouldn't necessarily call it spot zoning. It's just changing the zoning to better fit what's already happening and has already happened in the past. So that's what I would say, but I'm, one of 8.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I could, I would reiterate what Councilor Jensen has said, and I agree with many of the points that he made, and plus what's already been stated tonight. I mean, this is a couple-year track record with no issues. They've got a solid record and reputation, and I mean, they provide a quality product and service, and I mean, this one, we've seen it before. There's a track record there, so for me, I think it fits in with the plan that's coming, and what they've done has given us good reason to support them here. I will be in support.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
If I may. So I supported this in 2020, and I'm going to support it this time. But I get where planning's coming from, and I think maybe for Commissioner Poppins as well might be alluding to is, I can think of 3 reasons why anytime you look at this, you need to look at it with some skepticism, and it's got to get over a hurdle. The first is you don't want to outrun infrastructure. You don't want to get ahead of that. Although this doesn't have a whole lot of need for infrastructure, as it were, water, sewer, things like that. The second one is when you get development that gets ahead and happens in the county, in our joint area, before annexation, sometimes they lose the reason to annex. So then when you get to them, they don't want to annex because they're already functional. Why do I want to annex? And then you end up with an island, which we have a lot of islands in our city, which can create some problems later. The third reason is if you do something that's not in character of what's forecast in the future, it creates a mess for everything else that goes around it later. For example, if you put some highly commercial thing in an area that's supposed to be residential, you're going to have land use conflicts, and what was going to be a very nice development turns into a very weird deal where you have either huge fights about stuff that shouldn't have been a fight, or the land uses just have to change, or there's some very weird transitions. In this particular case, so I consider all those, I take that really seriously. In this particular case, in shaped places in our zoning ordinance, we have what's called residential compatible self-storage. That's what this looks like to me. And we require, that's why I asked the question, we require pitched roofs, siding. It has to look kind of housey, and it has buffering. That's very different than just a storage facility that's just very plain Jane, chain link fence, very ugly, that sort of thing. So I would hope the Planning Commission, and I would assume that the applicant would be fine with it, does something to the same quality so that it could fit in. Another great thing that it was mentioned by somebody else with self-storage is it is one of the, I mean, I don't have statistics, but just from observation, one of the lowest traffic generators. And it has very few externalities. They're very quiet. I lived literally a block from one for many years in Sioux Falls, a residential compatible, and you would never know it's there if you weren't looking for it. So I think it would transition just fine, even if there was residential. If you were talking about doing a gas station or a major car dealership, we might have a different discussion. But in this particular case, I think it's going to work, notwithstanding getting planning's concern about jumping ahead a little bit. So I will support it. Thank you.
Is that,
A comment then, Mr. Chair, if I may. I will defer to the cities. It sounds like there's a pretty unanimous support for this. The things that I have looked at over the years is the precedent of this is we approve it. It isn't because it is a very run facility. The next time when somebody applies, we don't know if it's going to be a very good run facility. And once we rezoned it, we don't know for sure what it'll be 5 years from now. So I encourage us to always consider, is this something that could be done within the city? And absolutely, and where you have the control for it. You've alluded to a lot of the concerns I have. They won't need water, they won't need sewer. So what will be the incentive for these types of facilities to annex in? But again, I am going to defer if the city says this is good for them. I'm in favor of it. I just be cautious because there is no density, as we alluded to before, of how too many becoming a problem, because we don't have that. So if someone comes in a month and wants to do the same thing, and then a month after that, and a month after that, it can spiral, because these, I think, are a moneymaker, as long as the demand is there. And I don't know that there's a distinction, because these are not going to be rented out, but they're going to be sold. So someone that wants to just put up rentals, I think the same criteria, and I would kind of believe that our support would have to be behind them as well, so. But it sounds like the city of Sioux Falls is in favor of it, so I'll vote in favor of it.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yeah, Commissioner Poppins, great comments, and I appreciate them. You and I have some of the similar concerns. I'm supporting this, though, for a couple different reasons. Number one, I just aside from the planning and zoning perspective, I appreciate the fact that these folks are putting in, doing the economic development and driving the kind of investment out there in this area. This is my county commission district. These guys know, along with the neighbors, I am out there a lot talking to folks, and that's kind of what I hear. So that's why I wanted to say that. But from a planning and zoning perspective, obviously, we have to balance a lot of different balls. So the first thing I want to say is that right now, the marketplace is driving development, and to a lesser extent, it is driving planning and zoning decisions that are made in the joint jurisdictional area. I'll allude more to this in my comments on the next agenda item, but government is not moving at the pace of the private sector. So we do need to improve our comprehensive plan. One of the reasons that staff has a denial of this plan is because it's said that this area is a future home to residential development. I'm sorry, but no, it's not. And I don't know who developed that plan, and I completely disagree with it. You're not going to build a bunch of houses right next to South Dakota Highway 11. What you're going to do is you're going to create a commercial zone out there, and then you're going to feather those houses in further back and set back deeper in. You're not going to do it right there on the highway. Would I put this kind of development at the intersection of 69th and Minnesota or 85th and Minnesota? Of course I wouldn't. But Shaped Places allows the kind of flexibility for the commission and the council to make these kind of decisions based upon the marketplace and balancing those concerns about land use conflicts further down the road. I don't have concerns about land use conflict or a awkward transition plan here, because every day when I drive down Minnesota Avenue by Prairie Wind Trailers in Harrisburg, that's kind of what this is going to look like 30 years from now. We're going to see similar type buildings, and Highway 11 will probably be a 4-lane highway, and it probably will have a lower speed limit. It's going to have a lot of this growth and development. The other thing is 271st and Highway 11, it's going to become a business node. I understand that maybe this site is a little further back from the node than what some people would prefer, but I'm not going to quibble over a couple hundred yards. It's in the neighborhood. It's going to have a consistent look to it. So for those reasons, I'm going to be supporting the rezone tonight. Thank you.
Commissioner Landine, do you want to complete the portfolio, and do you have any comments?
I'm not going to bore anybody with everything that I would have said has already been said, so no.
I would agree.
Mr. Chair, can I do just a quick?
Yes.
This is multiple times in the last month that we're hearing this from our constituents, is that we're making it too expensive to build in the city of Sioux Falls, and our building permits and building requirements are becoming onerous, that people are wanting to build just outside the city to get away from some of that. And as an aside, that's interesting to me, because it's also public safety things that we're avoiding, whether it's fire, police, just those public safety things. And so it's kind of a wake-up call, I think, for me, and I hope it is for the rest of the council and the people who come after me.
Thank you. Having had all of our comments from the commission, Kristen, do you want to take the role of the county commission, please?
Commissioner Aaron's,
Yes.
Commissioner Landine,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, motion carries 4-0. It is approved.
Council, we have a motion to approve the item.
So moved. Jensen.
Second.
Moved by Jensen, second by Baranco. Any further discussion? Not, roll call vote, please.
Star,
Yes.
Baranco. Yes. Cole,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
McCurry,
Yes.
Knight,
Yes.
Sailberg,
Yes,
Sale.
Yes.
passes 8-0.
All right, that brings us to our second item on our agenda, which is the Sioux Falls 2040 Comprehensive Plan and Joint Zoning Ordinance. Commissioner Aaron's.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank the other commissioners as well as city councilors. I think on my 6 years on the commission here, we have not had an opportunity to come together as a group like this and have this conversation. And I think what we just saw is exhibit number 1 as to some of the things I'm going to talk about here in a minute. But also, we're seeing a lot of other planning and zoning actions right now that are making us take a look at, do we need to update the 2040 comprehensive plan sooner rather than later? And tonight, I'm here to urge city councilors to start that process now, and definitely to start it sooner rather than later. So just for a quick update for our city councilor colleagues, on March 26th, this commission unanimously passed a resolution to urge the city council to review the 2040 comprehensive plan and the joint jurisdictional agreement that goes along with that between the county and the city. And clearly, it's driven by the tremendous growth we're seeing. It's driven by the kind of requests that we're seeing tonight. And I think it's important to understand growth does not respect jurisdictional boundaries. The marketplace is moving, especially in the Sioux Falls area, much faster than the speed of government. Just a couple quick facts to set the table here. Lincoln County is currently the fastest growing county in the state. 74,000 people live here now. We're the 9th fastest growing county in the nation. That's important because when you think about it, there's 3,143 counties in the nation, and we're number 9 on a per capita basis. We are the 23rd highest county among the more than 3,100 counties nationwide for housing unit starts. Sioux Falls, fastest growing city in the Midwest. The metro area was just announced had reached over 305,000 people. So when you think about that, put that into perspective, 4 counties in the entire state out of 66 counties, 3/5 of the population now is living in four entire counties in this state. And that kind of puts in perspective the challenges that we're facing, infrastructure, growth, regulation, but it's also a window into what the opportunities are for growth and economic development as well. And we have an opportunity now to seize on those if we so choose to. And most important, and kind of lastly, in terms of my facts and figures here, South Dakota is on track to hit 1 million people by 2030. So we're going to have 1 million people who live in this state 6 years from now, according to population projections. So as I mentioned earlier, I represent the joint jurisdictional area. I'm honored to be able to represent those folks. And what those people out there say to me is, Aaron's, what's the plan? What are we going to do here? And how are we going to do it? What are the growth targets? What are the boundaries? Who sets them? What's the viability of the joint jurisdictional agreement between you and Sioux Falls? Those are all questions that I'm getting. And when I've had the opportunity to sit down with these folks, I've said, well, look, here's the plan that I'm going to pitch to the city council and to the county commission, is that we have to engage aggressively with the city council in order to address all of the growth. Because if we don't get out in front of it, it's going to roll us over. And then we're going to end up with, awkward transition zones, and we're going to end up with those islands, and we're going to end up with land use conflicts. And the reason we end up with those things is because we just don't take the time to forecast ahead and properly prepare. So this is certainly an opportunity to get ahead of all that. What I've said is obviously residents of the joint area, as those of you know, my message to the city council is those folks don't have an opportunity to elect you. But you're making regulations and decisions that affect millions, tens of millions of dollars of investment, but that also affect real people's lives. And so there's no accountability out there. And so it's important as a result of that to be able to collaborate and bring the county commission in, who does have the honor of representing those folks, so that we get them a seat at the table and they have a voice in terms of what's going on. And I'll just end with this. I'm going to urge the city council to take the 2040 comprehensive plan up soon. I hope you do it immediately or start the process. I know this, it's a process, not an event. And this is going to be an ongoing conversation, hopefully, between this county commission and the city council. And I also hope the city council and the county commission is listening to other stakeholders out there as well. City of Harrisburg, City of T, key commercial type investors, developers, citizens who are affected. Everybody should have a seat at the table through their representatives. So I hope we get a transparent process. I hope we get a collaborative one that includes all these stakeholders. And I just want to thank all of you for listening to what I have to say. And I hope that this is the start of a conversation that helps us lead into the future. So thank you.
Thank you, Joel. You know, I want not to elaborate too much longer, but he does serve a purpose, because the only time that we really ever get together as a commission or as a council is over issues like this. And I do know that you meet regularly with the Minnehaha County Commission, and for good reason. But I would propose as well that the City Council and the Lincoln County Commission meet on a quarterly basis, not to necessarily to discuss and pass or reject a certain proposal, but just to sit down and visit, because the growth that we are blessed with we can maximize, but we do need to spend more time talking. We need to spend more time getting to know our culture, how we feel, what motivates us, and things like that, and you. So that's one of the things that I would hope that you could take to your new council people. And perhaps they would like to start that, because I doubt if any of them really truly understand where Lincoln County is. And personally, I'd like to get to know where they are and what their vision and what their ideas are as well. So that's something that I think we should continue on, and we should make this an effort to get that done, because the county is involved in the city, and the city is certainly involved in the county. So I don't have any more comments. I would like to say once again, if there's any other things that need to be commented on before we go. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me address the
Mr. Chair, before he starts, I need to make a point of order. We didn't notice this agenda item, so I'm not sure that it's appropriate for our group to discuss this item. You could ask the city attorney if we can move forward, but we didn't, for some reason, notice this item.
What's your feedback on that? We did not have it on our agenda.
Mr. Chair, there's no action pending.
No, that's true. We'll just check with the attorney.
It's on the county agenda, but not the city agenda. We didn't notice it.
We'll get back to you.
Okay.
Thanks for letting us listen in on your meeting.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. All right, let's
Mr.
move.
Chair, 1 second. I will end with this and spare everyone the long lengthy, but Commissioner Schmidt and I were actually served on the council or the commission when we first started this joint jurisdiction. It was after a lot of debate. Yes, we've been around here a lot, and I've been here as long as Schmidt on that issue. It's hard to believe, but I hate to admit it sometimes. It was a lot of debate at that time. These people, as Commissioner Aaron's alluded to, don't get a vote on who is representing them on the city side of a lot of decisions. I believe it's been a fruitful cooperation between both entities. I don't know that we talk probably as much, but I bet our staff talks a lot and understand each other better than we understand it ourselves. And that's what it's supposed to be. I mean, they're the ones that are delved into this all the time, talking to the people who want to propose something and finding out if they think it might work, what kind of logistics and all that. But anytime that we can improve communication, it's awesome. But I hope this can continue. There may be some fine tuning that has to happen in the agreement. But I do appreciate the time that the city has given toward joint jurisdiction. And I appreciate the residents that have been affected by it, because it is for their benefit. Sometimes it doesn't seem that way. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other closing comments? If not, Chair will entertain a motion.
Yeah.
Motion?
Got to do public input.
Oh, my God, I forgot that, public input. Yes, do we have publics that want to put some input? Seeing none, do we have a motion to adjourn from the county?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Aaron, second by Landine. Kristen, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes.
Commissioner Landine.
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes. County is adjourned. Your turn.
Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
By Sales, seconded by Mercouris. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? We are adjourned.
Sign the.